This is an electroscope. It's glass on the outside and rubber. And then through the center, we've got a metal rod, and at the bottom, there are two pieces of silver foil, which is extremely thin and light silver. It's a really good conductor, and it doesn't have much mass. I can use an electroscope to show three different principles: polarization, charging by conduction, and charging by induction. And I'll start with polarization. If I bring the charged rubber rod near, I can see the leaves go out. But when I take the rod away, the leaves go back down. What I'm doing is I'm driving some of the negative charges in the metal down to the leaves, and there they are repelling each other. When I remove the rod, the negative charges in the metal spread out as much as possible because they're all repelling each other, and the scope returns to its initial state. So again, that's called polarization, and I did not touch the scope to make that happen. Second, we're going to show conduction, charging by conduction. Now in conduction, I'm actually going to transfer charge by touching, so I'm actually rubbing the charged rod on the scope, and you'll see now that the leaves actually did go up and they stay up. And this is because I've deposited negative charges on the scope. They've redistributed themselves all over the metal, and they are repelling each other at the bottom in the leaves. And the leaves are light enough that repelling is causing the leaves to push apart from each other. Next, I can show a process called grounding. Grounding is the process of letting extra charge leave the scope, or if the scope were positively charged, I could deposit charge on the scope so that the scope is negative. So by touching the scope, I allow these excess electrons to leave through my arm and go to the ground, and now I have a neutral scope again. The last process I'm going to show is called charging by induction. In charging by induction, I charge the rod and I bring it near, but I do not touch the scope. I do touch the scope with my finger. I'm grounding the scope and bringing the rod near at the same time. This is driving electrons through my finger to ground, and it's removing electrons from the scope. When I take both things away, you'll see the leaves go up a little bit. That's because the scope has a little bit of net positive charge. Now, if I bring the rod near, I can drive what negatives are left in the scope down into the leaves, causing them to be neutral again. And again, that was called charging by induction.